Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Born Podcast, brought to you from our studio here in central Pennsylvania. I'm your host, Nathan Imboden, and on this show, we have the privilege of championing the message of entrepreneurship and business ownership by interviewing local business owners and leaders right here in our backyard in central Pennsylvania. And we get to peel back the onion about what it really takes to start, grow, and run successful organizations. You can find full replays of our broadcast on our website at questmont.com/bornpodcast, and anywhere you do social media, whether it's LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, or wherever you find your podcasts, search for The Born Podcast. The Born Podcast, not cask, because it's not really a cask. Search for The Born Podcast, hit that follow button so you can stay up to date on all these episodes. And today I'm really excited because we have really a force to be reckoned with, as I believe I've heard you describe before. Kristen Pucci, which I was told earlier is like Gucci with a P. So that's the easy way to remember it. With KRAE Consulting.
KRAE Consulting, yeah.
And we're going to have a great time today learning all about you. So thank you for joining us today, Kristen. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
All right. First, just give us a high-level overview of KRAE, what you guys do, what your business is all about, and then we'll get into some other stuff.
Sure. So KRAE is a brand and talent management agency. So we do social media, marketing, anything that your logo would be on,
okay.
Whether it's digital or physical. And then we also manage people's personal brands as well. So we do companies and personal brands, anywhere from... We started in construction. So that's where we first started. Was I got my major start in construction, but now we represent everything from like medical clients to real estate development. We have a lot of CEOs and motivational speakers, public figures, celebrities that ask us to do their brand and run their brand for them. So I also, which closely aligns to that, I actually am a business manager as well. So like a sports agent would have an agent.
Yeah.
I manage some celebrities and some public figures, their business and their contracts, and as well as their whole brand with the team. So,
Interesting. Mm-hmm. That's pretty diverse, and there's some very niche and unique things that are in there.
Yes.
The personal brand thing is interesting. I'll get back to that. But, so maybe give a little bit of your background and maybe kind of your story and your journey that led you to this and doing this.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think we could go back as early as when I first started working. I always loved working. Like I was someone that I was like 14 and like ready to go.
Yeah.
So I got my first job when I was 15 and I was an ice cream scooper. And because I wasn't allowed to touch anything else. And you can't touch knives, you can't touch the fry later, you can't so they let you scoop ice cream. And just very quickly, I just loved being a part of a team. I loved working. I worked my way up to being like an assistant manager by 16. Like I just really always loved working. And by the time I got to college, I thought initially that I was going to be going for sports because I was a really big athlete up until college. And I was just like, that's what I want to do. But when I ended up picking York College, which is where I went to school, and I started in psychology because I loved people and I loved helping people and I loved like understanding how people worked, and profiling was really attractive to me. Like just that whole concept I loved. But then I ended up taking a marketing class with one of the oldest professors, Tom Lepson, that was at York. I don't know if he's still there, but he always comments on my LinkedIn posts every so often. I think he was 72 at the time, so I don't know. Yeah, he was not young. But he was just so wise, and he took me under his wing, and he's like, I think you're better made for business. He's like, than psychology. Like they both marry well together, obviously, knowing how people work. But he's like, I think you would be so much better at like marketing and business. You just have a true mind for it. So I took some classes, fell in love. Fast forward, I got into the construction industry doing business development and marketing and social media and just learning about this local industry. And then come the pandemic, I got laid off and I was like, I'm going to do my own thing. And I always wanted to do my own thing. I always had that passion. I think I just didn't know what it was going to be or how I was going to do it, but I always knew I was going to do something.
Yeah.
But I went to school for marketing. Like I said, I went to school for psychology. So it all just kind of naturally married together. Yeah.
I hear a lot of stories about people that have that entrepreneurial bug and spirit in them, typically from a very young age.
Yeah.
But they don't always jump right into it right away. There's maybe a little bit of a journey or a path, and then life happens, and it's just whatever that situation was the catalyst to not finally, like, what have I been waiting for? But you probably then eventually thought, oh, what have I been waiting for? Even though your experience gave you things that you could, probably lean into differently. But interesting. So how did you? So, I want to do my own thing. You were doing maybe a little bit of what you're doing right now, but how did you determine some of these other, like, business, because you got, again, some pretty niche stuff in there. Does that stuff just reveal itself, or were there connections you had before that you were able to bring in, and then you just learned, hey, I'm pretty good at this? What did that look like?
So where my company is at now is not where it was when it first started.
Yeah.
I figured out who I was and what as an identity, as a business, right? Like, I have not changed, but I think I've just gotten truer to who I am and what I love and what my purpose is the longer I've been in business. So where I first started, it was interesting. I just took every skill that I had and that I've learned in the past however many years, that I've taken just a little bit from every job, and I'm like, I'm going to put it together and I'm going to call it a business. And they kind of align, and they kind of, will make it work. And I had a pretty good following on social media at that point. I'd done a lot of networking, so I had a good audience to create a business. I think that was definitely something that made my success very quick off the bat, was I had people that were already watching me, right?
Sure.
Because you have this audience. So when I first started KRAE, I was offering the social media marketing still. I've always loved that. That was always the core service that we offered. But I was also offering, like, business development services, so I could be your business development person for you instead of having, you could consult it out. We were doing professional event planning, corporate event planning. So I wasn't doing people's weddings or birthdays.
Sure.
Like, we were just doing I called them strategic networking events. Somebody wanted to throw a party. You want to make sure a certain number of people were there. You have to get ROI from everything. So that's kind of how I framed the events. And then we also were doing recruiting and, like, talent placement. So, which I've since then, I'm actually owner of 2 companies now, which we can talk about. But I've removed that service entirely from my company, and I actually partnered with another firm. I gave them my book of business, and now I'm partnered with them. So I don't recruit anymore. So everything else has kind of gone. We've moved things. I stopped the business development first. I really just struggled going to networking events multiple times a week.
Yeah.
Every single night, late, drinking, like, just kind of hang out.
It's draining, isn't it?
Yeah. It wasn't me.
Yeah.
And I made some very good friends. I made some beautiful contacts from it, but I just think, like, as a couple years ago, I stopped doing it. I really am so strategic and specific about my time. And, like, I'll do stuff like this and I love it. It's one-on-one, but I just don't do superficial stuff like that anymore. Like, if you want to go out to dinner, great. You want to do something that's like this, I love. But I didn't want to do that anymore. So the social media marketing, everything else, that left, and that stayed. So
awesome.
Which was good, because I always wanted to get more laser focused.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I had I hate networking events.
Okay, great.
They're just oftentimes awful. And
it's just a lot of sales and BD people, which is okay. No shade on sales and BD people.
No, not at all. But
yeah.
But I had somebody who was a relatively new contact, but he was introduced through the podcast.
Okay.
Who was looking to start, he said, a networking group, but a not networking group. Well, that sounds intriguing.
Yeah. Okay.
And his whole premise was, I just want to gather a group of interesting people together, keep it relatively small, and all we do is get together and tell stories. I have one rule. No sales pitches, no 30-second commercials. We just get together, have interesting conversation, tell fun stories.
I love that.
It was one of the most enjoyable experiences. We did it. So shout out to Mr. Mark Karofsky, who let us use the King Mansion to host them. We did it all. It was called the Sunset Soiree. We'd go down a couple times, or what did he do? Usually every other month, at least once a quarter. He did a great job bringing us some nice food. We have good drinks, and just had a wonderful time talking to each other. And we've made some great connections through that you don't get traditionally in a networking group.
Yeah.
And
because they're always like group. I feel like it's hard to, like, really go deeper with somebody at a networking event. Like, not that that's necessarily the environment, but, like, that's really what I'm seeking. Like, I just don't have a lot of free time in general with how busy I am, and I'm sure you resonate with this, that, like, when I do have free time, I'm not gonna just, like, waste it right? Like I'm not just gonna, I'm not trying to fill my free time. I'm really gonna, I always joke that I say you're either someone, if I have a meeting with you outside of work, you're someone that makes me money or you make me laugh. And like that's my two categories. Like I enjoy spending time with you because I just love who you are. And I think you're a really enjoyable person, or you're somebody that I know you will make me money. Like those old meetings that I'd go on to that's like, hey, I'm sure you get these messages. We know a lot of the same people. We know a lot of the same
like 10
people.
a week.
Yeah, literally, if that, not a day, right?
I see we have so many mutual
we have so
connections.
many mutual connections. So I started responding with saying,
great.
who?
Yeah.
Who? Because they always are just like, I think we can help each other. How? Like when I used to go on those, I had no boundaries and I would just like go on all of those meetings and I was exhausted and you'd sit there within 5 minutes, you're like, all right, I don't want to buy a 401k.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like that, you know what I mean? Like that's not what I'm trying to do. And so I think over time I just got rid of them. So I'm really selective and it's got off gut feelings now and just like kind of who do they know and who do I know? And not that I'm sitting here like I need to make money from you, but like I also want to bring you value. I think you're a high value person. And I think I'm a high value person. So how can we bring like our high values together and create something from that? So, yeah.
And time is our most valuable asset.
Absolutely. We don't have any of it.
When you don't, yeah. When you start to realize that, you think differently about how you spend your time and what's most important.
Yeah.
So that's, All right. Talk about within what you do at KRAE, what's your most enjoyable line of work that if you could say, you know what, well, I don't know if I want to ask it this way because I want to get you in hot water, but if you could only choose one of the businesses that you do or the services you offer, which one would it be? What brings you the most joy?
I love content creation.
Okay.
I just think content, like we were just with a client yesterday and like I'm climbing into a tractor, like it is 30 degrees outside and I'm like in my puffer coat in the field, like, hey, I'm like opening the door of the tractor being like, can I come in here? Can I take some photos like while you're doing, and like, that's so fun. Like I have no shame of being like, I'll climb under this, I'll climb on top of this. Like we've been in mud pits before. Like I just love creating unique, interesting content because there's so much like vanilla basic stuff out there that just feels so corporate. And I think that's why I love the personal brand so much too, is because every person is so different and you have to marry that brand so aligned with their personality and who they are and their purpose and their passion and why they do what they do, which requires me having to go deeper, which I think is another thing that I like. But I just love like giving the concept of content creation. But I like being a visionary as well. I really enjoy, because I'm getting more into like speaking and mentorship and coaching, and I just really love pouring into like the old me, whether it's a guy or a girl, like the old me. I love hiring the old me. I love helping the old me. I love speaking to the old me because I'm like, I always joke that I've lived like multiple lifetimes, and I'm just like, if I can save you from having to like build something up from complete scratch and not knowing how to do this, whenever I can give you a tidbit of an advice, or I could save you from like taking a wrong turn somewhere. I always want to do that. So I would say those two things are my favorite.
When you're helping the next generation of entrepreneurs, or even if they're not full-blown entrepreneurs, creators, being able to create and build something.
Just people with like, I think I just love meeting, and that's like where the talent side came in. Like there's so many talented people out there. Everybody has talent. And some have it locked somewhere in like a little box and they're scared to touch it. And then there's some that are like, I have this amazing talent, but I don't know what to do with it. Yeah. And I love that I can come in and be like, here's what we're going to do with it. And then they get more excited about what they do, and then I can help be excited with them. So yeah, I really, there's nothing I do that I don't love. Yeah. I think that's something about my personality, is I'm either going to do it 100% or 0%. So there's nothing a part of KRAE right now that I'm like, get rid of it. I hate it. I'm just doing it because I'm of a paycheck. Yeah. I don't have any of my business that's like that.
What's your most challenging line of business or work that you enter into?
The talent, the manager side. Because you create such a vulnerable, intimate, like I got to know this person inside and out. And the trust that you have to build that I'm practically running their life. Yeah, right. Like not the personal side so much, but like also on PR, just in case something goes wrong in the personal side, right? So like, I think that is so, in the beginning, it's so much of learning about each other, and like then, and they're trusting like, hey, I'm taking this over. So for someone to gift me with that trust to trust me with their business and their passion and their baby is a huge thing. And then like having to earn it and having to work for it and then having to, typically I come into a situation that like, it's pretty messed up.
Okay.
Like
right. It's more crisis than it is.
Well, it's not even a crisis. It's just they don't know what to do. So like it's people coming to me going like, I don't know how to run I know I have this good idea, but I don't know what to do with it. So you kind of have to rewrite a lot of the way that they do business, how they think, how they send emails, how they act, how they, like all of these things. And it's just learning them is so hard. Learning people at like such a core, deep place is so hard. And then just building that trust, having to have constant communication. And a lot of them aren't local. So having like, I've got clients in Texas, I've got clients in California, kind of working through not being able to physically see each other more than a couple times a year when you're literally running this stuff for them is a big deal. So that is very, very challenging, but also so rewarding because you see their life change. Like you see this light of like one is an artist.
Okay.
And she was just at a period of time, she was like, I'm just making a couple bucks here and a couple bucks there. And now she's we're about to have a movie come out. Like she has
That's awesome.
like brand deals with people and like all these things that they always dreamed about when they were younger. Now they're like literally happening. And it's so cool being like it because none of it's about me.
Yeah.
And it's so fun to like go to things and I'm like sitting behind the scenes just like being the silent cheerleader behind, closed doors because none of it's about me. But like they just get all these things that they all deserve because they're so talented and just nobody knows. So yeah, I love that side of the business.
That's really cool. Mm-hmm. Does that business come to you, or do you go to find that business at this point?
The clients that I have so far have come to me.
Okay.
They have heard about me from someone, or somebody's referred them to me. They put a request out, and somebody said, "Hey, you should probably talk to her." Sourcing it is hard because I like when I say celebrity, I don't mean like Kim Kardashian. Like I don't even want to, and love you, Kim.
Who?
But Kim, yeah. Like I don't want to work with, because they've already made it in a sense. I like the people under that. Like they're more than just like the everyday person. They're like right in that in-between tier that like, okay, if they just pulled a couple levers in the right way, like they could blow up. And I love that like underdog that just needs a little oomph. And I just come in and like get them out the nest.
So give me an example, not as somebody that you have worked with maybe, but an example of who would that be that we might be familiar with? I'm trying to visualize what kind of a person that would be. Is it
Sure. So somebody who's maybe been on a Netflix show, somebody who's maybe been contacted for a Netflix show, but they don't have like a Barbie movie, right? A little different. So yeah, somebody who maybe has had a Netflix show, maybe they have a couple 100,000 followers on social media, they have some talent, they have something that they do, they might be YouTube, they might have, hundreds of thousands, even millions of followers, might be somebody that's a good example. A motivational speaker, CEO, somebody with a really strong personal like conviction and brand. Like I just see it. I kind of see it in them, and they might not even kind of see it in themselves yet. So that would probably be the best example.
Got it. Okay. Interesting. That would be. I mean, you would think, particularly one of the parts about COVID that has opened up the opportunity for you to work with people in Texas or other states is the fact that it is more normal now to be working remotely, but there is a lot of lack of vulnerability that I think can come with a screen, and breaking through that has to be
hard,
very difficult.
Yeah, I tried to, with those types of clients that are outside the area, I try to like meet them within the first month or so many of knowing them, because I think, like when you're out to dinner, you're sitting and you can feel somebody's energy and see their body language. Like there's so much trust that can just happen from that. Yeah. So I have a client that I've yet to meet. I've been working with over 6 months, and I can tell that I've been like, hey, I know you're busy and whatever, but I'm coming out to California, or I'm going to meet you somewhere, because I know that that's an important step in the process of like physically sitting across the table from you, and you know that I have your back. I can say that 1,000 times through text and over a phone call and through a Teams, but like there's something different when you meet me in person and you feel it. So
for sure.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
You have a lot going on.
Yes.
And not just a lot going on, but a lot of demanding things going on, it sounds like, because when you're talking about personal brands, you're talking about talent management, all that kind of stuff. That's just in general demanding.
Sure.
Whether the people themselves are demanding or not, it's a demanding.
They are.
And I didn't want to say that.
They are. You guys are. No, like they're just you work with high profile people. They're not going to be like, get me a reel in 3 months. They're not. Yeah, they have a goal, and you have to come along. But that's who we are too. So it aligns well. But yes.
So how do you manage all that? I mean, do you have a capacity that you know, like, man, I cannot do any more of this? Do you just get to a point where you're just working all the time? What structures or things have you put in place to help manage all that well?
Yeah. So great question, because I'm super passionate about this. There was a time in my life that I didn't manage it very well. And that's my capacity, remembering that. Burnout, panic, anxiety. I was sick. I looked sick. Like my body I had digestive issues. I had a bunch of like autoimmune disease. Like I just had all of these problems, and like I just was not taking care of myself because I was saying yes to everything. And I didn't have any boundaries, and I had too many commitments. Like I had all these things that I was doing. And so now, because it's a blessing and a curse that I went through that time of my life, because now I'm like, all right, we're never going back there. We're not doing that again. We're never going back there. And I'm not scared of it per se. I mean, there's definitely some fear to like kind of hit that gray area of like sending yourself back into that time of your life. But a lot of it is boundaries, and I delegate like crazy. I don't know that anybody, and again, maybe they say it behind my back, but I don't think any of my employees or my clients would say I'm a control freak. I'm very much so a delegate. Let's grab this. Let's do this. Let's do it. Like, let's try to be as strategic as we can with the time. Time is such an important thing. I'm always thinking of time in my head. I think of time as a dollar, like a dollar amount. And so I'm always just like delegating. And so for example, for me, yeah, it is a lot. Like I have 2 dogs. I have a house. It's just me by myself. I don't have kids. I'm not married. Like so I have people that come and help walk my dogs. And I have and I build really strong relationships with them. So like I can rely on them, and then they know that they're also going to get business back from me. So, and I'm very loyal. Like I have one person that does this, and I have an assistant that helps me with everything. I am not I've never wanted to be that person that works around the clock. And I was up till 1 a.m. last night cranking out emails. Like I see that as inefficient. I really do. Like when I see that in other people, and I see it a lot in other people, I'm just like, how is that possible? Like, how are you working? And I don't mean to be like, you have less business going on than me, but sometimes that's the case. And I go, what are you doing? Like, how are you spending your time? Like
There's a lot of that goes on.
Yeah, and like if I could watch you just all day, like if I just had a little camera, like watching how you were working, I'm sure I'd be like,
I found 6 hours.
Yeah, like you could get 6 hours back. So like I work a very healthy, I don't like to schedule anything before 9 a.m. in the morning. Like when I wake up at usually around 6:30, and like I have my morning that I do every single morning, and like something has to be on fire for me to start working on it before 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
And then I'm usually done 5, 6 sometimes, unless there's like some type of thing we need to do in the evening. And that's running 2 companies, and it's just all coming down to delegation and just saying no to a lot of those coffees we were talking about, or a lot of those networking events and whatever. Like rest and rejuvenation and like pouring back into myself is important, because like then the next day, bam, it starts again. So like you have to be well fed, you have to be rested, you have to be in good shape, like you have to be doing all these things to be able to do what I do every day. So I need that second shift time after 6 p.m. and before 9 a.m. to be able to do the 9 and 6 the next day.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I would say I live a very healthy, I do. I live a very, very healthy lifestyle. I don't work on the weekends. I don't work in the evenings. I don't.
Good for you.
I really, and I make a true effort at that. That is not by just mistake that that's happened. Yeah.
Good for you.
Thank you.
I think culturally, it seems like that is becoming more, in some ways, more acceptable.
I hope so.
And it should be, because
I hate the hustle, the grind thing. Like when people are, oh, the grind. And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
No, we're not grinding. We're not hustling. I mean, like we are, but like just those words, I just feel like you're not impressive.
Exactly.
That you're working 24 hours around the clock. To me, I'm like, that's unhealthy.
There's more.
There's more there. There's more there. Yeah.
If that's what your more is, okay, fine.
Great.
But for most people,
how much you
there's
sleeping?
more there. Yeah.
How do you feel right now? What's your relationship with your significant other? You have any friends? Your kids seen you in a little while? And I just think like, why? I don't know. You can get a lot done just
Learn
how to work.
Absolutely.
Learn how to work well. You can get a lot done.
Yeah.
And if you want to be at 9 and you want to be done at 6, you can do that. But you got to learn how to work. And then you have to be self-aware enough to, maybe you don't know how to work.
Right.
Maybe you don't know how to manage your time. There was a time I didn't. I didn't know how to manage my time. I didn't know how to do any of those things. And I was working like a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit there. And now I'm very good about how I work. And that's okay if you're not and you want to be that way, but you can. You totally can. You can own 4 companies and you can work like that.
Absolutely. The sooner you learn that, the better you set yourself up long term to be able to continue that, because it's very difficult to go down a path opposite of that and then start to turn it off.
Yeah. Well, it's just unsustainable. You can't sustain it.
Yeah.
You can't sustain it. Just even from like a health standpoint, like your body is going to start wearing, sleeping, eating, you know, and what the thing, like if you're not sleeping, you need to sleep. Like you need to be eating well. You need to be.
Absolutely.
Your body's going to shut down. So you're playing with fire.
All right. So you do that you're very intentional about that for you.
Yeah.
Does that translate down in your organizations? How many people do you have working for you right now?
So I have 4 at KRAE and I have 4 at Recruiting Caddies, which is my other company.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is that same translated down?
Yep.
Do you have...
We take naps. I say, you need to step away, you need to take a nap.
Okay.
Kristen, there's only a 2 o'clock. My only time I can get my hair done, which getting a hair appointment as a female is very difficult. So, guys, I probably wouldn't have the same deal on this because it takes you about 25 minutes. Girls, you're there for 4 hours.
27.
27.
I timed it last night. It was...
But like they go, hey, the only appointment's on Thursday at 2.
Yeah.
Are you cool with that? Sure. You can bring your laptop. If not, you can. I know they'll work it out. Like, we need to take a break today. Yeah. Some people have very emotional days. They got stuff going on in their personal life. That is not going to translate into your work. You're going to come to work and you're going to do good work. Tired work is not good work. Stress work is not good work. So if you need to just remove yourself, it is more detrimental to me for them personally, but also for the company if they sit at their desk stressed, emotional, and whatever. You've been there. You've gotten a shitty email from somebody and they might catch you on the wrong day. That could be a client.
Yep.
Just go take a walk.
Yep.
So yes, absolutely. And like I got all my girls on supplements. They're all on these different supplements. I check and make sure they eat. I've gotten mad at them. They have showed up. They're funny about eating sometimes. They will show up for like a big shoot. And I'm like, did we eat? Well, no. Well, then I got snacks. And I'm like, here's a bar and here's whatever. Because it's like you aren't your best if you're hungry and your blood sugar is low and whatever. Like I can't climb up in these tractors and like going around all these, doing that stuff on an empty stomach. But yes, it very much so. Even just recently, even with my business partner in the past couple of weeks, he's now on this like nutrition thing because I've really been pushing him to be, and maybe I'm not taking all the credit, but like he also has had other things that have kind of pushed him this direction. But I'm like, I think we need to be taking breaks. I don't like that you work till midnight some nights. Like I think you need to let's not do that. So yes, it's very
awesome.
Therapy, that's another one. I'm a big proponent of therapy. Let's work that out.
Yeah.
I notice a theme. Maybe there's something there, and like I see myself as like their leader, and that's not just a leader at work. I'm also leading you as a young woman and as a young man and as a young, like that's my responsibility. So yeah, you're not just an employee. That's not your only role. So yeah.
We haven't had a lot of time to interact yet.
Sure.
This is one of our first interactions.
Nice to meet you.
But I can say with confidence that the individuals that get a chance to sit down with you and allow you to be a part of their lives are blessed people, because these are lessons, and I wish I had this stuff when I was young. I learned, and some of it you have to learn on your own, and then when you learn on your own, you can teach other people and hopefully lead other people. But I didn't have that when I was growing up and first getting into it. And it was not until probably the middle part of my first real job, which kind of was a little entrepreneurial, although not really, in the insurance industry. They all think they're entrepreneurs, and almost none of them are.
That's so funny.
Oh, sorry. Did I? I'm sorry.
Yes. There's a lot of people out there that think they're entrepreneurs because they are like a subcon of We'll stop there.
Yeah.
That'll be like that'll
That'll
be the
X
Born
exactly.
podcast.
Yeah.
We'll do that on a weekend.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Born After Dark. We've talked about that.
Born After Dark. We'll get into that.
Way,
we'll get into the entrepreneurs.
Yeah. Well,
Do you have your own LLC? Okay. Let's start there. Whatever.
Anyways.
Carry on. Yes.
But I had somebody who finally, probably about 4 or 5 years into that really started to kind of take hold of that type of a mentor.
Yeah.
And it was awesome. Now, it didn't click right away, but just the individuals that get to sit down with you.
Thank you.
And again, you said about, I'm a connections person. So if I'm able to sit across the table from you, I think I'm fairly, Joy, you can disagree if you would like, but I think I'm fairly intuitive with reading people.
Oh, thank you.
And
my energy is good.
It is good energy, yes. But regardless of the personal side, just those types of priorities and whatnot are just invaluable for younger kids as they come through an age where that stuff's not as highly promoted.
Yeah. Yeah.
So good for you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And I just, I think a lot of like what I'm doing too, I feel like is very much so in my purpose and what I was like put on this earth to do. So I think when we talk about like delegating and like all of us in my team, like I want to bring them with me. Like I'm not the type of leader that I'm like, all right, I'm going to stack them underneath me and then I'm just going to get to the top and be like, yes, Kristen Pucci did it. And I want them to go on the trips and I want them to go, because we get to go to some cool places when we deal with talent and, you know, some public figures and celebrities. Like you get to go to some cool stuff. And like I try to bring them whenever I can and I want them to experience it. And I don't know. What I do is very much so from my heart. And I'm glad that I'm getting, even as many years in business that I am, I just continue to get more aligned with my purpose. And yeah, I love it.
All right, I'm going to show you this because
this.
I wrote it down in my book. What drives you? What's your purpose? And you've mentioned this a couple times related to having a greater purpose and really kind of driving that home. What is that? What do you say is your purpose?
So I'm feeling like I need to say I was saved in my early 20s. So I was not a believer prior to that. And I had some beautiful experiences. We call them beautiful now. They were not beautiful when you're going through them. That led me to that. And so every single day when I'm working, I want to be so in line and in purpose with what God wants me to do and where he wants me to go, because I just know the doors are going to fly open and the windows are going to fly open. Like all these things, like that has been KRAE for me. There have been people I have met. There's things that have happened. Like we just have had such a clear direction. Like there's been obstacles, there's been natural obstacles, but then it was like pivot. And like, it's just always been forward. And so my purpose is whatever he wants me to do, which I think is what I am doing.
Yeah.
Which he wants me to bring people with me. So when I think of my employees and my clients and the people that you're saying, you know, that I can kind of exchange energy with, I want them to come with me. I'm like, I don't really know where we're going yet, but it feels pretty good. Like, this seems like we're doing a good job. Let's just keep going that way. And so I think that's it. I think just like, because I guess purpose is like when you get to the end of your life, will you be happy and feel complete in all the things that you did? And I can even say now, if I died tomorrow, yeah, I do. I think I've had a pretty good go at it. And I think I'm very happy and just like so thankful of the friends that I have and the employees. I think my employees, both of them, 3 of them, one is my father, but the other 2 that is not family, I think they were supposed to be working here. And I think we were supposed to meet. And I think I was supposed to be their leader. And I think they were supposed to be my employees and my friends. And there's a reason why we are so strong together. And then I think the other part was supposed to happen. And yeah, I think it's just doing whatever he wants me to do. And he's got the map and I just have to follow. And I think KRAE for right now and for probably a long time will be it. So yeah.
Amen.
Yeah.
We'll talk after this.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nathy can resonate with that. And I
Great.
don't say Nathy a lot out in
Nathy.
public.
Oh,
So
Nathy. Christy and Nathy.
Yeah,
We'll
that's
talk
right.
after hours.
That's right. We might have our own show, the Christy and Nathy Show.
Oh, I love
That'd be
after
great.
hours. But I do. Purpose is such a beauty. I wish everyone could be so aligned with their purpose. And you
Absolutely.
just were put on this planet to do something so beautiful and so wonderful. And it is in your core. And there is a reason that it is on your heart. And there's a reason why you're passionate about it. And it might not even make sense. It could be like plants. Like you were just so passionate about plants. Figure out why.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's align this. Figure out why. How can you make money with plants? Because you have to have money to live. It's not all about, but you have to have
Right.
money, right? Let's be like nobody's living on this planet. Well, there are many people that are living on this planet for free. But like, I just think I just want everyone to get there. So I feel like if I can be that kind of beacon of like align with your purpose, figure out what it is, align with it. Maybe it's starting your own company. Maybe it is being an employee. Maybe it's being a mom. Maybe it's being like, just feel that feeling. I want you to feel that feeling. You're not meant to live 65 years working some dead end job that you were just like, oh, I just swinging a hammer. And maybe that is your thing, but you're not supposed to live like that. There's something you're supposed to be doing. So just get in touch with
Figure it out.
yourself and do it. Go.
Awesome.
Go.
Go.
Do it.
Go.
Run hard and fast. That direction. Forward.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
That's really amazing.
Thank you.
Joy's going to get mad at me because
Okay, great.
this is always...
Oh, yikes.
We try to... Yeah, look, I have a tough time
Look.
getting reined in.
That's okay.
I know.
Rain out. She's out there. There's a door.
It's true. That's
Lock
right.
it.
You're on that side. See?
You can't come in.
I knew. That's
yeah.
right.
She can't unplug it
right.
oh, well.
She could try.
There is a little tube there. She
Yeah,
could
that's
unplug it
true.
from over there.
She's got... Oh, yeah,
Turn it
she
off.
does have the power.
Cut the cords.
But I feel like I could talk to you for another like 3 hours
Great.
and just scratch the surface. So we may have to bring you back.
Great. Part two.
Part two. And I was going to ask you another question.
That's okay.
But
You
I
can
really
ask.
think that
You wanna
was
save
a
it.
perfect way to end this
Oh.
because it was going to kind of tie in, but in reality, I think driving home the fact that we are all here for a greater purpose, whatever that is. We'll talk later because it sounds like we share a similar purpose.
Great.
But we're all here for a greater purpose. Figuring that out and then aligning yourself to whatever that is.
And be so unapologetic about
absolutely.
it. If it doesn't even make sense, just go do it.
Yeah.
It might not make sense right now. Might not make sense right now. But you're
right.
going to look back and you're going to go, all of these doors just open.
That's right.
I have a book. I'll have to send you a picture of it.
All right.
It was before I ever started KRAE. And I knew I wanted to start KRAE, and I have it. And Carolyn's ordered me a frame, and I got to put it in the frame because I keep forgetting to put it in the frame. But it was in a notebook, and I was in a counseling session with my Christian counselor. And I was really struggling with the job that I was in at the time, and I was just crying. I was upset. Like every session was just like, I'm in pain. Like she says now, my spirit was in turmoil. I love that. I was like, my spirit was in turmoil. I am not in where I'm supposed to be, and my body doesn't feel like it, right? I just feel uncomfortable and unhappy. And she's like, what do you do? She said, take out a Sharpie, and I had a Sharpie. And she says, write down what you want to do. Just write it down. Don't even think about it. Go. So I wrote it down, and I said, I want to quit the company that I was at the time, take the money, and start my own company. I wrote it in big Sharpie, and I have the piece of paper, and I dated it. It was in like November of however many years ago. And the next thing I did, I ended up going to another job after that, forgot about this little page. And it's funny, 6 months after that, that's exactly what I did.
That's awesome.
And just at the time, like I don't know if I say that I wasn't brave enough yet or was scared, but it just wasn't the time yet.
Yeah.
It wasn't the time yet. I needed one more person to kick me in the ass. That's what I needed.
Yeah.
I think God was like,
Yeah.
let's do one more, just for like good old. Yeah, he's like, let's just do. I know we've had some challenging people on our path, Kristen, but we need just one more to kick you in the ass. And one did, and I was done. And I remember because I got laid off on a Friday at 4:30. My 60-day. It was my 60 days. And this was in COVID. Which, like, okay, but
Yeah.
the next day my benefits would have gone active.
Yeah.
It was a little weird.
Shitty.
So that to me, I was just like, yeah, this is the last time. This is the last time. So I'm like, I'm done. And I started my own company.
Awesome.
2 weeks later. Yeah.
It's going to be awesome to see what the next 2, 10, 20 years holds.
I know.
Yeah.
I don't know. People ask about like 5-year plans. Somebody asked me that the other day. What's your 5-year plan? I'm like, whatever happens. I don't know. I know that's like such a strategy question, but I just like, I don't know that I believe in that. Like because if I went back 5 years and I would have set goals, I would be doing less than what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
I would have capped myself.
Yeah, that's true. Can be true.
Yeah. I would have capped myself. Yeah. So like, I think it's good to have direction. Right. Sure. Like you're not just gonna be like, oh, whatever happens, happens. Like that's not what I'm saying. But I just think like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this. Like, I just think when you make plans, God laughs, and it's just like, okay. He's like, no, you thought you were going to go to level 2. I'm actually going to take you to level 10.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, then you want to take me to level 10? We go to level 10.
Yep.
So I don't know. I never know how to answer that question. Whatever happens, I guess I'll keep going that way.
Perfect.
And trying to do the right steps, but we'll see where we go.
Awesome.
Cool.
All right. For everybody at home,
yes,
it's hearing your story,
yes,
and they're saying, this is magic.
Magic.
I need to be a part of this.
Mm-hmm.
What's the best way for them to learn about you, your organization, get in touch with you? What would you want to say? We'll have it in the show notes. We'll have it in all our social media stuff. But
so I'm having fun with all my social medias right now. LinkedIn is somewhere that I've been for a while. So I'd say, depending on what you're looking for from me, I'll give you a couple places. My LinkedIn is somewhere that's very business-based. Mm-hmm. I definitely go vulnerable on there. I'm not superficial. I hit people with like some pretty, deep topics. Mm-hmm. But if you want me to if you want like the real raw version of Kristen without any filter, go to my Instagram. That's where you need to be at. Like my reels are just very true to who I am. I swear. I'm a human that swears. I'm not going to swear on LinkedIn, but I will swear on Instagram. And it's just, I really go deep with things on there. I hit emotions a little bit more. We talk about relationships. We talk about God. We talk about all of these different things on my Instagram. So depending on where you want to go and what you feel like you want from me, or go to both, that's fine. Or reach out, directly. But I'm always on LinkedIn. I have it up on my browser all day. So you can always follow me and send me a message and we can talk. But yeah, that or Instagram.
Awesome. Awesome.
Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
This has been a blast.
This is good.
Like I said, I could keep
part
going.
Part 2, Part 3, Part 4.
We might have 22. This could be its own. It's just going to be you and me here for now. The
KPB.
Next year and a half. Yeah.
Born. Again.
We could. Yeah, it's born again.
Oh, that could be fun.
She's been born again. See what I did there? See what I did there? Well, you kind of did that as well.
Yeah,
but
we could have done that together. That was good.
Awesome.
That was great. It was branding.
It was. Thank you so much. This has been a pleasure.
Thank you.
I'm so glad to have the chance to meet you and talk to you. And everybody at home, I hope you enjoyed this as well. If you're looking for inspiration, if you're looking for a partner, if you're looking for the services that they provide, if she hasn't convinced you on this show that she's worthy and her team are worthy of being a part of that, I'm not. We may have to talk offline because
you need something fixed in your head.
There's something up there. Yeah.
There's something
There's something wrong there.
There is a screw loose.
That's right. Check out KRAE. Check her out on social media. This has been awesome. Thank you so much. Everybody at home, I believe, Joy can back me up on this, our next episode is actually going to be me. I think that's the plan.
Ooh,
so I have not gotten on the other side of it. I'm going to have somebody come in and interview me, actually. Yeah.
I would do that.
I have...
If you want to do a series of that.
There we go.
Yeah. We could reverse this.
But I have not had the opportunity to actually share any of my story in a deeper level yet. So we're going to do that next. I'm going to take a little bit of a break through the end of the year because we're coming up on the holiday and Christmas season. So we're going to take a few week break. But first episode probably in the new year is going to be, unfortunately, this guy. Although you see me every week, so it's going to be normal at this point. But thank you so much.
Thank
Everybody
you so
at home,
much.
hope you enjoyed. We'll see you next time on the Born Podcast.